not only the university but the community of Acadiana, and certainly our football team and our staff. I hope everyone's had a quality summer. I know for us, college football is a very seasonal career. We've enjoyed great time with Allie and the kids, and certainly my family and her family as well. I want to say thank you to the media. Certainly, you guys have done a great job of really covering the Sun Belt Conference, and we continue to see the improvement in this conference. And I know we're excited about the future in terms of the championship game and the division approach. We appreciate what you do for our football players. These guys work extremely hard. It is truly a job for these guys, and they have worked really hard and put themselves in position, and we appreciate the gratification that you give them when you recognize the hard work that they've done. Media Day means that training camp is here, and the season is right around the corner. It's exciting for us to be here in New Orleans, in our home state, and we appreciate Carl Benson and the Sun Belt staff. I think we all know the improvement that the conference has made, the adjustments that Carl and his staff have made over time, certainly the recent success the conference has had. I think it's a league that's full of quality coaches, and I think it's a league that's on the rise. Certainly excited about being a part of this league as a first-year head coach with the inaugural championship game and the East and West divisions. In my opinion, we have an SEC footprint. If you look around our league, the model that we're using, it's exciting to me to be a part of that in the first year and the vision that Carl and his staff have set for the future. A little bit about our team and our staff. I'm excited about the challenges and opportunities that we have. It's been a very productive offseason for us, not only assembling a quality staff, but I think we've developed our players. I think we've improved our roster. I'm pleased with the progress that the returning players have made. We've established expectations, and I've got even more conviction about the success that we can have in Lafayette with this program. We're fortunate today to have great representation from our team at the player level. Corey Turner and Robert Hunter here, and a little bit about why they're here. These guys are players that we want our team to emulate. We want the guys on our team to emulate these guys. I think that they have embraced the change that we've tried to bring as a staff. I think that they're a group of players that care about their teammates, and they've shown that over time. And they can affect the rest of the team, and that's important. And they've got a lot on their plate from a leadership standpoint in the future. Our focus is right now. We're trying to finish the summer strong. We've had our team together for about 8 weeks at this point. We've got about a week and a half of work left to do, and that's where our focus is. We want to finish strong this summer as we prepare for camp. We have lots of unknowns, but I know this: we've got competition, and we've got a good group of players that have bought in to the culture that we're trying to establish. I'm excited about training camp because we get a chance to develop our team for the first time. We've got all 110, 130 players together, and there's lots of questions. What type of identity is this football team going to have? Certainly, we'll develop that personality. We need more leadership at the player level. In this season and training camp will present adversity. It's going to present success, and how will this group deal with that? And that's some of the questions that we've got to answer. But something is very evident. We've got a fan base that is passionate, they've got energy, and they're excited. And to go with that, we've got a football team that is anxious to prove themselves. They've worked their tail off for 7 months, and I think they're looking forward to playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're hungry, they're driven, and we're excited about the future. So with that, I'll take questions.
Questions, please. Motion for the mic.
Coach, where do things stand with the starting quarterback situation, and how far into camp do you anticipate going before deciding between Levi and Andre?
Well, the good thing about our situation is we have two young men that I think really can play winning football. Andre Nunez being a senior and Levi Lewis being a sophomore, both have experience and both have a skill set that I think could be very effective. So some teams may have insecurity about their quarterback position, but we do not. We've got two guys that I think can play, and we're going to have great competition for our number 3 spot. But I think the critical thing when making a decision about the quarterback is when the reps become extremely valuable is when you need to make a decision. So at some point or another, the quarterback is going to win the team. They're going to play at a little bit higher level, and I think that that's going to unfold as we work each day. There's lots of work left to do. I mean, we're nowhere close to making that decision, but we are pleased with the progress that they've made, and I'm excited about those guys and the work that they put in.
Coach, obviously you've coached under Coach Saban, you've coached under Coach Sweeney. Can you talk a little bit about their influence on you and how we might see that with regards to the Ragin Cajuns?
Right. Well, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for not only the coaches that I've worked for, but the coaches that I played for. And something that I think gets overlooked is the assistant coaches that you work alongside, the guys that you have a chance to observe that are not only good men but are very effective at what they do. So not only Coach Saban and Coach Sweeney, but Tommy Bowden, Buddy Pugh gave me my first opportunity. Played for some really good men. Todd Graham was a great experience at Arizona State working with him last year, and Jim McElwain as well. So all of those guys, I'm a conglomeration of every one of those guys, and I think at the core of what we do, a lot of what I've observed at Alabama, is at the core of what we do. But certainly there's things that you learn along the way that maybe you felt like you did better at other places that we've implemented at our place. So we're all a product of the people that we've been exposed to, the experiences that we've had, and I wouldn't be here today without all of those men.
Hey, Billy, Adam Hunsucker with Monroe News Star. When you were hired, and so a lot of y'all made headlines with the just the kind of resources and financial commitment you were making to the football program. And in a state like Louisiana with the state of higher ed, how important have those private donations been to the program, and what has been your reaction to seeing this kind of commitment from the fan base?
Well, I think to be very blunt, it was part of the decision in taking the job. I think we're very fortunate to have great leadership in our administration. We've got a tremendous president with Dr. Savoy. I think Dr. Maggard is going into his second year. My conversations with him throughout the hiring process really intrigued me to be working for a guy who had some of the same beliefs about what it takes to be successful. And as going forward in the time that I've spent in Lafayette, it becomes very apparent that we have people in place that have passion for this university and want to see our football program and our athletic department have success. And I think the athletic department, college football, and the university, they go hand in hand. And I think we've got a lot of people that understand that, and we've got great commitment, not only from a resource standpoint, but from a facility standpoint, from an operating standpoint. And that doesn't happen without the contribution and investments of lots of critical people.
Billy, Ted Lewis from The Advocate. Carl talked about the goal of the conference is to get into the New Year's Six game, even have a team go undefeated and be knocking on the door of the playoffs. You got that opportunity going to Mississippi State and Alabama. Can you just talk about what that, like I said, the opportunity it presents, the opportunity and the challenge, and what would that mean for can you visualize that?
Well, I think it's an intriguing concept, and we wouldn't be, I think we're a step closer because of the work that's been done at the conference level, at the president, administrative level with the universities that we have in this league. So a lot of stability going forward in this league. And that's exciting to me with the championship game, with the East and West Division, and certainly with having some Power 5 opponents on the conference, on the schedule. If you can get in position and run the table, you're certainly a candidate for that New Year's Six Bowl. And I think what Central Florida accomplished last year is great for the Group of 5 football level, and certainly what we aspire to do at the University of Louisiana.
Coach, you're going in with really a shorthanded roster with numbers-wise and so forth. Has that had any effect on the way that you basically operate your business and even going into fall practice?
Well, I think, really our focus is on the things that we can control. We're moving forward. We understand that we can't do anything about the past. Our approach is going to be that, our choices and decisions, our habits, our self-discipline can impact the future. I'm pleased with the decisions that we've made. I think our staff has done a really good job of evaluating. I think we've added some critical players at certain positions that will help our football team play better this year, but certainly we'll continue to make improvement in the future. So roster management's a big part of it, and I'm pleased with where we're at and the decisions that we've made here in the last 7 months.
Coach, you came into the job knowing some things about recruiting this state of Louisiana. How did that inform the coaching staff choices that you made in filling out your staff?
Right. I think that Louisiana's in prime position to put together a great recruiting class each and every year. And our philosophy is going to be to build our team from the inside out. This year, this state produces on average about 100 Division I players each year. And we're going to recruit basically a 6.5-hour radius from right here. And I think that, our research would say there's 700 Division I players in that 6.5-hour radius. So if we can't get 25 good players out of that, we need to do something else. So we got a good staff. I think our staff has been diligent. We certainly, as we put together that staff, we're looking for a couple critical things. The first is a certain level of character and integrity. A group of men that really have a sincere interest in not only developing the guy as a football player, but as a person, of value and education. And then you want a guy who's competent at his job. He's got a certain level of expertise at his position, in his area. And then that recruiting footprint dynamic certainly is a big part of it. So I think we've got a staff that can do all of those things, and that's what gives me a lot of conviction going forward.
Coach, kind of piggybacking off what Ben said, how important is New Orleans to you? And with that in mind, how important was getting Jabbar Jalouk on your staff?
Well, I think most people would say that New Orleans is a very productive area, and certainly I think I know there's about 35 players a year right here. I think that it's critical that we come here and we get the right player. We get a player that's going to fit who we are and how we do things. And certainly we're going to recruit this area each and every year. We went to every football playing high school in this state this year, including New Orleans. And that is to try to build a rapport, a certain level of trust and respect with the high school coaches in this state. Jabbar is a critical part of that. I think one of the big things in New Orleans is that it's a guy that they trust. It's a guy that's been where they've been. He understands the dynamics that go with living here and dealing with the high school football players and coaches in this area. So I think we all know what type of man Jabbar is. He's a good football coach. He's a good recruiter, but he's an even better person.
Coach, good morning. What do you see as some of the benchmark games for establishing yourself as a leader of this program in your first year?
Well, I don't think we look at it that way. I think we go back each and every year. We're going to start over. Our approach is that each team is unique. Each team is different. We've got a new set of voices, not only at the player level, but you're going to have attrition on your staff. We can't necessarily zero in on games on our schedule as pivotal games. Where we're at as a football team, we know we're going to line up and play, and each and every one of those is going to be a competitive environment. That's one of the things about this league and the non-conference schedule that we have. We're going to have to be ready to play each week. So we're not going to take that approach. We're going to take an approach Sunday to Saturday each week as we turn over and go to the next one.
Coach Brantley Mathis, Louisiana Gridiron Football out of Baton Rouge. Whenever people hear UL, they think of the word culture. What can you say about the culture you've brought to UL, and also what effect has it had on the players, the locker room, and how do you see it moving forward?
Well, I think when we talk about culture at University of Louisiana, we're talking about it in two different ways. The first culture that we are trying to establish at our place is how we go about our business inside the building, relative to how our players represent the university, the community, our football team, and the first-class approach that we want them to have. Their integrity, their discipline, their toughness, the togetherness that we want to play with, the impact that we can have on the community, and a certain level of belief that we can do special things. That applies to every area. You know, that's not only how we play on Saturdays, but that's how we compete as students, and it's how we represent ourselves as people, not only while they're at our place, but the dynamic when they leave here, that they've got their education, and not only an education, but a network of people and a skill set that they can go have success in life. So the culture that, the second part of culture is, I think our area, our region is unique. It's special. You can't drive through that community and not recognize that. And it's all about the people. It's about their beliefs. It's about their belief in hard work, their belief in doing things with class. They're wanting to be associated with a winner, and that's why our new staff is at the University of Louisiana to do those two things: establish our culture inside the building and embrace the culture in that community.
Coach Napier, Ron Snyder on News 15. What's the process like for you, and what's the most difficult part about navigating through this season as a first-year coach in terms of preparing for each matchup? What's the biggest challenge for you going into the season in terms of that?
Well, it's right here in front of us. You know, I think obviously we're trying to finish the summer strong, but training camp is where we will develop the identity of our football team. We'll kind of create a personality to some degree. We still need to make progress in terms of leadership. And we got to get ready to deal with the adversity that goes with not only within the season, but within a game, within a possession, within a quarter. So I think really establishing the mindset of our football team over the next 5 or 6 weeks as we approach the season is the most important thing right now.
Coach, Spencer Tillis with KTV. I know you've only been with the program a short time, but have you gotten a feeling either inside the program or around the community, the importance of the rivalry with ULM and what it means for you guys down there?
Well, I think in this league, there are tons. The Sun Belt Conference presents all types of challenges, really opportunities for our football team. We're fortunate to have had some success here in the past. I think as this league has kind of narrowed down and we have these 10 teams, there's all kinds of opportunities to play winning football. Certainly, ULM is in our state, and they're a team that we compete against each year, and we look forward to that opportunity.
Any final questions?
And Billy, when you look at the job that your predecessor did, it was pretty, it was very successful for this program. 9-win seasons, 5 bowl games in 7 years, and still, a change was made, and it's your job now. Do you feel any pressure to kind of live up to that level of unprecedented success you had with the program?
Well, I think that goes back to some of the things that I mentioned earlier. You know, we can't control anything that's happened in the past. You know, our approach has got to be on the things that we can do to impact the future. You know, we've got a process that we use, a journeyman approach that we have established at our place that I think is where our focus is. You know, and if we're going to have success, we're going to have to do that each and every year. But no, we don't look at it that way. But I'll say this. We're in a better place because of that success. There's no doubt that we benefited. But, you know, high expectations are exactly what we want. You know, we're welcoming to that, and hopefully we can acquire more of that in the future.
Coach, Raymond Parch with the Daily Iberian. You had your staff in place, and then you had to make a change, bring in a new defensive coordinator. You hired Ron Roberts, who had immense success at Southeastern Louisiana. Talk a little bit about the process of bringing him on board and what he's going to bring to the defense.
Well, I think that it's unique how all that went down, you know, and I think that it's really a blessing in disguise. You know, I've had a chance to be with Ron for 7 months now, and have been very impressed with his demeanor, his approach, his ability to impact the players, his ability as a teacher, his interactions with the player, the quick trust that he was able to establish. And if you look at Ron's track record and the coaches that have worked with him and for him in the past, he's continually produced some of the better defensive minds in college football, whether that's Dave Aranda at LSU, Pete Golding and Carl Scott at the University of Alabama, Patrick Toney on our staff, who I think is a bright and up-and-coming coach. Ron, he knows what he's doing, and I think he's excited about the opportunity to really do what he has passion for, and that's coaching defense. And it was one heck of a coup for us to be able to lure him over a 15-year head coaching veteran. And it's great for me, being an offensive guy who's going to call the plays and run the offense, to have a guy who has head coaching experience on the defensive side. So we're pleased with Ron and the work he's done, and we're excited about the future.